All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the contributor experience meeting. I'm your host for today. So let's get started. As usual, we'll start with the triage discussion, primary and secondary for this week. So Alex, I think you were primary this week, and Chaitan, are you here?
I don't have any particular update. I noticed there was a questions and I didn't even have to answer because there was basically, it was not a question, it was a discussion and someone else from the community just answered it. So there were just 3 of them. And yeah, that's my only observation.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if that was it, then I think we can just pick next week's primary and secondary. So do we have any volunteers first? Okay, that's all right. I can volunteer as primary for this week. Does anybody want to be secondary?
Hey, Remington, it's Keith. Hey. Yeah, I can be secondary.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
Great. That was easy. Okay, looks like we just have one other topic for today. Alex, were you the one that added this?
Yes, sorry, that was me. I know that I think we're done with all the blocking fixes, and I want to collect all the pull requests that we want to include into release candidate. I think we have a lot of open UI pairs. And this is the one that I know about. This is to improve a new feature and this has to go in 2.4 release candidate because it would be a breaking change. We better merge it before we release the feature. So basically, it's a call for everyone who contributed, and if you list outstanding pairs, maybe here or in the doc or maybe just in the Slack, I would appreciate it. And I think we'll prioritize merging them, and we can pretty much nothing stop us from creating release candidate like today.
Awesome. Did you link this one because you wanted to?
I linked it so that this is the one that I know that must be reviewed and merged before we create release candidate. And I want to collect more such pull requests.
Got it. Okay, sounds good.
This is the one that I'm aware of, but I'm pretty sure there are some others.
Okay. Does anybody else have any off the top of their head that they can think of?
Hi, I just wanted to bring up the topic. I think it's kind of related to this PR that Michael pushed. I wanted to discuss a little bit about the terminal feature that is going to be in the next release. I read that it's going to be disabled by default, but while deploying that into it clusters, we can see the button, right? It shows up in the UI. Mm-hmm. So I guess, and I wanted to know your opinion if it should be disabled by not displaying anything in the UI, right? And not having this visible anywhere.
Yeah.
And only if the admin goes and enable, then things will appear.
Yep, that's in this PR, Leo. We got to get this merged so that that button disappears in our local environment or internal environment.
I haven't looked yet, but I'm really curious. How did you do it, Michael? Did you use the API or did you introduce a flag that disables the feature kind of completely?
So there's a flag that lives in the Argo CDCM config map that disables it on the back end. And then I added a field to the settings server, which I think was initially intended for other stuff, but now it just ends up being stuff the UI needs to know about. So the UI asks the settings endpoint, is terminal enabled? If so, show the button. If not, don't show it.
Got it. Yep. We could have done it for using RBAC as well, but I guess this feature is special, and we could use RBAC. We have API. I think it's called CanI API, and technically we can hide all the buttons. We can make a call and kind of ask backend if user has permission for this particular application to view the terminal, and if it's not there. But I think it's, and we have a ticket to eventually implement it for all other UI elements.
Yeah, that would be a lot better.
Yeah, does the API have to exist for the can I feature to test? Because we actually disable the endpoint here too.
Yeah, I mean, can I API exist, but I'm not suggesting to change approach. I think this exec feature kind of special. It can be, I can see how someone just don't want it at all ever, and kind of
And to answer Zach's question specifically, the terminal endpoint doesn't have to exist for the CanI endpoint to answer
Okay,
the question.
that was my question, because we literally disable the endpoint in this.
Oh,
PR.
I
So I wasn't sure if the can I endpoint actually needed the
No.
endpoint to be available, or if it was just purely looking at RBAC rules to determine it. So, okay, thank you.
So Alex, is this approach something, excuse me, is this approach something that we could add later on? Your approach?
Oh, my approach, I think it's like for later on. Basically, it's a big change that we will have to work on in the next release. I would merge this PR as is, and maybe, and then just someday we have to. I think I was saying the cleanest solution is to use CanI API, but it's like way more work, and maybe web terminal deserve its own setting to be enabled, disabled.
Okay, cool. Anybody else have any other thoughts on this PR? Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. That looks good. Thank you for doing it.
I agree. That's a very good change. Thanks.
Right. It looks like we have one more item on the agenda. As long as Alex, was that it for that topic, or did you?
Yes, that was just my. Basically, I'm looking for if anyone has any objections to create a release candidate. I mean, not objections. Basically, if you know if you're aware of some changes that have to be made before we create release candidate, please let me know. But this is what I'm aware of. This is the only pull request that I'm watching right now. Yes, so please ping me links to other peers.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so it looks like we have one more item on the agenda. So it looks like an issue about failing E2E tests due to resource exhaustion of the GitHub runners. So excuse me if I pronounced your name wrong, but Rishab, did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so I added this to highlight that sometimes the integration test fail due to it couldn't start, and reason could be timed out, or uh, if I look into, sometimes looks like that GitHub memory has been full, and it cannot execute. So I was thinking, can we refactor our end-to-end test, like uh, break that into component wise, like application set would have would be in another package, and the Argo CD would be another package, and when the proc file would start the process only. Uh, so it would first start the process, and the Argo CD test would run. Then it would also start the other process, or build at the separate time. So how that could be done, I don't know, but this what something came into my mind. So should we look into this?
Maybe can I suggest a solution? I think it might be a I mean, if my suggestion works, it will be an extremely small change. So Remington, if you don't mind, I can just share my screen and show the
Yeah,
change.
I'll stop my share. Yeah.
So I think I know what causes the memory issue because someone else ran into the same problem. I think it was either Chetan or someone, I forgot who did, but basically we use Gorman to start components of Argo CD, and Gorman uses the proc file that I'm sharing right now. And this proc file by default just run a bunch of go run commands. So it does it in parallel. So basically it's building Argo CD like 4 times, I guess. So each this guy builds the same thing in parallel, but at the same time we have a flag called beam mode, and it can be set to true. So if it's set to true, the proc file assumes that binary was built previously and it's sitting in the dist Argo CD directory, and I think it's true in E2E tests. So basically, I would just try to set this binary to true in E2E tests and send a pull request. I'm not sure how to. Basically, in this case, it will not be building anything. It will just start existing binary, and yeah, it should definitely. And we get rid of parallel builds of Argos multiple times.
Currently, there are some PRs that have this set like has the binary mode true, and say still they are failing.
Oh, okay. So someone tried it already? Is it producing?
No, once, let me check.
I'm assuming we don't use it because I know that it was introduced, for like internal development needs. I think Leo introduced it because he wanted to use Golang debugger, but it is also, it's kind of a performance optimization. I want to take.
Yeah, exactly. It was for be able to debug this using Delve and I don't think it is used in E2E tests. So I think your suggestion might help, but I think it would be good if we had the exact error that Hishab is having and seeing in the E2E test. So we go straight to the point where the thing is really breaking, right?
Yeah, if you see the error, it's like execution paused. So we have configured the health check and it goes up to 1800 second, but
Yes, I saw the bugs that you're referring to. Basically, I didn't know what happened, but now you explained it to me, so I understand what the reason is. So I'm pretty sure, yeah. So this command stuck. So we run it in parallel, and it maybe died because of out of memory. And this command keep waiting for the health check. And
I have a couple of background information to that probably. So because I noticed that as well on my local machine on a VM with 8 gig RAM, right? So it basically had my VM end up in a lock. So that's why we decided to build the make controller, make server, make repo server before, so that at least the compilation and linking will be done sequentially, but probably that was not enough. So yeah, that bin mode is probably the way to go, but we still need to build the stuff before, right? You just deleted it.
I think I did it like the make CLI local will build the binary, and because we package everything into binary.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a try. Yeah, because changes so small, I'll just send a pull request, and If it works,
Yeah.
it won't make it worse. And hopefully, like, it's hard to prove it fixes the problem, but
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it will, because the resource consumption is from Go's compile and linker stuff,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
that will pretty much eat up the resources,
Yeah.
especially when run in parallel.
And I'm not sure
Mhm.
if line 424 is going to be really evaluated correctly during the make target execution. Maybe we should put this inside the start E2E local. Like we already have a lot of variables being defined in that make target.
Good. Yeah, I will take a look into. Yeah, maybe it should be a variable, right? Because
Yeah, there are lots of variables already being set inside this target. Maybe bin mode is just another one we could set there.
Okay. Yeah, I will work on it offline. Yeah, but I guess I want to give it a try. I think we almost it's just couple more code line changes. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for pointing this out, Richard. I think
Thanks. And it was reintroduced when notifications were added to the proc file.
Yeah, I forgot what. Basically, I think we were kind of close to the limit. I guess as soon as we added one more, then it became super slow.
Cool. Was that it for that topic?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. All right. So it looks like Ravi added a few pull requests. So Ravi, would you like me to share the?
Can I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. So last week, Alex, you suggested for this notification engine integration with Argo lots, where we were getting this object kind missing error. You asked me to try another approach where we could introduce that the fields where we are updating the runtime object with the object with the API version and kind, right? So, so instead of so this is what I was doing in the PR. What you asked me is, instead of doing it in the update method, you asked me to try it out to introduce that in the notification controller wherever it's getting triggered, because we expected that here the object kind would be missing when it translates into unstructured, as well as in the record.go in the send notifications. If we could update the object runtime, it would resolve. This is what I've tried, and I've just run this. Even with that, I'm seeing this issue. Right. Even with that, I'm running into the object kind missing error, and I can show that I've just put a log message in the controller.go just to display what this result.
Please don't. Yeah, I know that line 218 would fail if you don't have a resource kind. Basically, that the kind must be inserted before line 210. Basically, the unstructured has its own unmarshaller, and this guy fails if you don't have a group kind. Let me just give me 1 second to kind of confirm it.
So I've put it in the logs, and every time in the logs, it is giving API version and kind for that result field. I'm not seeing an issue such here, Alex. So here it is doing fine, but when it is trying to, even when we update the send notification object runtime, even then we are seeing this issue. So, yeah, good.
I wanted to kind of double check myself, and I think I just did. I know that if you're trying to unmarshal a JSON object into unstructured, it has its own custom unmarshaller. And then I'm seeing this code right now. So it tries to deserialize, the data from the JSON, and then it's specifically looking for group kind, and it dies and it returns an error if it's missing. So that's why
Correct.
it's like, and then I just saw the code where it will fail because, you know, unstructured object don't have group kind. Sorry, the JSON data. Yeah, so I was saying maybe is not that the reason why we still think it?
No, it's not that reason. I think basically what is happening is this is the first time when the object is being called, you know, during the notification engine calls. The result object is fine, but you know, as it processes the analysis stuff when the rollout object gets updated, that's when that API version is getting deleted. API version and kind are getting deleted when that update call is made. So what I was thinking is wherever we make this update call, and I tested by enabling this object kind, you know, setting the group version kind in the update next to the update calls, and I don't see any errors. I tried this one out. I didn't see any errors when I updated here. So what I'm thinking is maybe this entire update thing, I can move it into a different method. Whenever we want to update it, let's call that method. Internally that updates this one and returns back the object. What do you think?
Actually, I like, yeah, I agree. It's a good suggestion. If we at least move it into a function, a usable function,
yeah,
then you know, hopefully we will not lose this behavior again, like in the future. Yeah, that would work. I mean, to be honest, yeah, I think that would work as long as we don't have to duplicate the same thing in multiple places.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So
can you go back? I just wanted to confirm one thing, Javi, please. Can you go back to your code?
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying that when you invoke update status in this API call, the return update rollout doesn't have the GVK correctly populated in the object.
So yeah.
So isn't it the case that we should
even
instead of adding these fields back to the object, maybe try to investigate why this update is having this behavior?
I created an issue in the open source with the code generator issue. I've created it. I haven't seen any response. It's been like 8 days. I wanted to understand why they are deleting it if as part of this code generation, because this comes basically from the code generation, the entire client setup that this update call that we see here. This is all generated by the you know, Kubernetes code generation tools. We don't write these things. So it is in the upstream from which this error is kind of popping up.
Actually, it's not really a generator because
I don't think so.
I mean, this portion is generated, but the into part, you know, on line 135, I think it's just part of Kubernetes client. So basically, some code inside of this method does not do the job, right? It does not.
So essentially, you know, as it updates this object, it doesn't populate the result object with you know, object and kind, and we cannot edit anything here. So that's a problem.
I'm not sure this is really a problem in the client code or maybe in our server code.
No, this is a problem in the client generation code, not in our code. I validated.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would.
You can take a look at it as well. You know.
I was trying to suggest that if you created the issue against you know, the code generator, they might not respond because they might think it's not their problem. Basically, that, you know, the code generator just uses Kubernetes client, and maybe they're expecting that Kubernetes client itself should populate group kind. So yeah, that's just a suggestion. So this is in code generator, and then so maybe it makes sense to create it in Kubernetes itself.
Okay, I'll do that.
Either way, yeah, I think you the fix that you are proposing to kind of have a function that updates and return object with populated, it also works. I think I was trying to avoid to
Right,
have
I understand.
the same thing in several places. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good feedback actually. After that, only I thought maybe put it into a common function. So thank you, thanks for the suggestion. And Leo, if you if you think if you want to look into it and see if there is anything else that we could do, open for it, and we can chat about it. The other thing I wanted to check is on the post-promotion analysis for canary strategy. So today, there are a couple of issues identical to this. One is this one, and there is another issue that Hari created on running analysis independently after the after the promotion is completed, right? Whether it could be canary or blue green or experimentation, we could run this. So so there are some similarities between this issue and this issue. Essentially, for canary, once we start the analysis and the post promotion, there is no way we can skip the reconciliation for that, because all the objects have been promoted, and at the end of the canary promotion, the current pod hash is equal to the stable replica set. Whereas when we compare this logic with blue green, the logic there is different, because once this post promotion thing happens, then those two fields are not yet same. Once they are same, we can stop it. But in this case, because it is inherently doing it, what I was thinking is this post promotion for canary can run like a continuous analysis after the canary strategy, which is similar to this issue, where users might want to continue monitoring their canary strategy for whatever the amount of time or the count, and then get notified of any issues. The thing that could differ from this issue with post-promotion analysis is, if in case in the canary strategy, the post-promotion analysis failed after say 5 minutes of the entire canary getting populated, then do we want to revert back to the previous one? I just wanted to get some opinion on this. So for post-promotion analysis, let's say after the canary got updated, if we continue to do the post-promotion analysis, and in case there are failures, should we just update the rollout object with a degraded state, or should we revert back to the previous best known state, like the previous replica state?
We need,
what do you?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I'm not sure if someone who knows rollout that well is in the call right now. I'm kind of looking for a list of attendees. I don't see it. Hari.
So I briefly discussed this with Hari. What Hari's suggestion is, let's just mark rollout status as degraded and send the notification, which happens, and continue the analysis. That is his opinion. I just want, before we go for any implementation, I just wanted to get if everyone is aligned on it, or if you want to get some comments on this.
I mean, no objections from me, but also no, I don't know. Sorry, and yeah,
no problem.
If you wish, yeah,
sure. Yeah, so that's primarily what I want to check with this team. Yeah, those are the two things. Thank you.
Great. Are you done with those topics?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, great. Thank you. It looks like that was the last of our agenda. Does anybody have any last minute topics?
I'll just mention that I just put, just in case people missed it, I posted a link to that group kind thing for some upstream bugs around it that you might want to look into. So that's all.
Thanks, Zach.
Oh, interesting. So do you know, Zach, was it a, okay, I see that PR was merged in 2019, so it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty old. So I don't know if we're running that old of a client set, but yeah.
No, I think we tried to run the latest kind of.
Okay. Okay. So maybe not, but it looks like it was an issue at one point and it was fixed and it looks like it should be returned. So
Mhm.
you might want to investigate it.
Cool. All right. Well, if there are no other topics, I think we can go ahead and end a few minutes early. So thank you guys for attending. See you next week.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh,
Dan,
one other thing to mention, if any of you are going to be at Argo Contributor Summit in Valencia, and you haven't registered, please do so. I think the link is in the meeting notes. And also, if you're interested in presenting a topic, please message me on Slack, because we do have some open time slots on there. So I'll make sure that the link is added to the document if it's not already on there. It should be there from last week. Yeah, it is. So I'll add it again. There you go. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys for attending, and yeah, see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Later.